Hi everyone, you're about to see the best how to make a fingerboard video on YouTube. The most important thing is to have a good mold. We prefer that you use metal, of course. It'll give you a much more consistent shape, and you'll have a lot less problems with glue sticking to mold if you're using another material. Next thing we need is a veneer of the appropriate species and the appropriate thickness. Now in this case we're using a piece of maple and a piece of mahogany. You're going to get a contrasting effect by using a light and dark wood. Now that usually looks better. The thickness is important. We recommend that you use the thickness of veneer of approximately a half a millimeter. You can go a little bit thinner or a little bit thicker, but that's actually the ideal thickness. We can use the thinner veneer as the inside alternating veneer. So we would start out with a maple, a mahogany, maple, mahogany, and finish up with a maple on the top. And the grain would be alternating. That gives you the greatest strength. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out our veneer. And for this we're going to obviously need a pair of scissors, a pencil, and this is an aluminum template that I made. This would be the size of the veneer that goes into the mold. This is made out of a aluminum sheet that you can get at a Lowe's or a Home Depot. It's approximately half a millimeter thick. We will also need a high quality wood glue. A glue brush will make things very easy for you, and a toothpick, and we'll show you later on what the toothpick is for, but you'll find that it comes in handy. For this demonstration we're going to use a pair of 2.5-inch C-clamps. Some people would prefer to use a vise, or if you have access to a hydraulic press, that would work also, but the C-clamp is the least expensive way to get started. Another thing that we recommend is putting a light coating of a non-stick cooking spray, such as PAM, on the mold before you press the blanks. It helps prevent the glue from sticking to the mold. Now that's really not much of an issue with a metal mold, but if you have a wooden mold or a Bondo mold, then the glue sticking would be much greater concern. You're going to need some sandpaper of various grits. We recommend 80, 100, 220. Those are probably the three grits that you'll use the most often. You'll also need a drill press, a small disc sander. We also recommend using vernier calipers. These measure in millimeters and decimal, and they're extremely helpful for measuring the width of your deck. Make sure it's the appropriate size, and you'll find it comes in handy in a lot of different instances when you're making your fingerboard. This is the aluminum template that I made. It's approximately 110 millimeters long by 30 millimeters wide. That would vary depending on the actual dimensions of the fingerboard that you want to make. So here I am tracing the shape that we're going to cut out. Notice this grain is going a long way. This will be the first ply on our deck. Okay, here I am actually cutting it out. Just following the pencil lines. So this would be your bottom ply. And to do the alternating ply, the grain would go in the opposite direction. So here I am, the same process. So this would be the second ply. And again, notice the grain going in the opposite direction. So now we would be doing two more of the light, in this case maple wood, and one more of the mahoganies. Here are the 5 pieces of veneer that I cut out. Again, You have alternating grain, long ways, crosswise, and so on. Here we're putting a light coating of the non-stick spray, the PM or whatever else you can get at the supermarket. Now the idea of this is to help prevent the glue from sticking to the mold. Again, that's much less of a problem with a metal mold. It's more of a problem with molds made with other materials. Even with a metal mold, though, I would recommend putting a light coating of the non-stick spray on the mold. It's just a matter of wiping it down on any of the surfaces that are going to be contacted by the veneer. The next step would be to make sure that the piece of veneer is thoroughly coated with the glue. You don't want to put too much on there, but you need enough to make sure the entire surface is covered. Notice I'm using the toothpick to hold down the veneer so that I don't get it all over my finger. Now I think I might have put a little bit too much glue on this, but that's something you can experiment with. After it's thoroughly covered, we just take the other piece of veneer, put it on there. Now notice we're only doing 2 at a time. It's easier only to do 2 initially until you get more comfortable. And actually, once you get experienced, you could probably do all 5 veneers at once. But we're going to just do 1 at this point in time. Okay, now that we have our 2 plies together, just kind of place them in the mold. Take the mold, top half, bring it over, bring it down. I use locating pins on my mold so that everything lines up. Now it's just a matter of taking your clamps, yeah, we have one on one side. Now we bring down the pressure evenly on both clamps. Good way to gauge if you're coming down evenly. If the space is the same on both ends of the molds, then you know it's closing up evenly. You may have a little glue there. You can just wipe that off with a paper towel.
If you would like to see how to make a fingerboard part 2, click the screen now.